What is going on, guys? It's the Mad Dragon. We are back checking out one of our preview videos. This is going to be the start of round 3. It is, of course, Italy versus Ireland is going to be the thing to get us kicked off. I'm going to be playing as Italy in the background while we talk about some of the teams. Let's get this game kicked off and let's check out who's been announced to play. Alrighty, Tommaso Alan is going to get us kicked underway. So, Italy versus Ireland is going to be the first game of round 3. Neither team has a win in this Six Nations so far. Neither team has played particularly badly, especially Ireland, who arguably could have won that game against Wales and they could have won that game against France had there just been a bit more going for them, an extra penalty, an extra breakaway try. Games could have gone completely other ways. I actually think the Ireland team's performing really well at the minute. They just so far seem to me is the lacking in that 10 shirt. The 10's letting them down, not helping them move up the field a little bit more, not getting kicks when they've got the opportunity to take them. So I think the Ireland team is definitely performing pretty well, but it just comes across, you look at the results, the worst results they've ever had in the Six Nations, 2 losses on the bounce at the start of a tournament is not how they will have wanted to begin their Six Nations off. So let's start off by talking about the Ireland team named to play this Italy team. So there's been a few changes named from that France game. I actually thought they played really well in that France game, and I think they could have won. There's just something about that game that they never stood out like they were going to win. Even though they played very well, they finished within a score. Just at no point did it really grasp me that Ireland were going to be able to steal that game away, and the issue for me has come from that number 10 position. So let's check out the team they've announced for this Italy game. Obviously, they're a slightly easier team to take on. They're not going to be quite as pressured, so you are allowed to mix up the team a little bit. And the story for Ireland seems to be people coming back from injury, especially in that 10 shirt. There's going to be Johnny Sexton coming back in. So let's check out the front row first of all. Of course, at Loosehead, Kilcoyne going to be coming in, taking over from Cian Healy. Alongside him, Kelleher. They were obviously impressed with his breakaway try that he had coming on from the bench. And finally, Tadhg Furlong coming on. It's, of course, their sort of second choice starting 3 they have now, but certainly a strong front row. I expect they'll be doing very good work in terms of the scrum. We have a couple of injury replacements here. So James Ryan is back from his injury debacle, so he's going to come back in at 5. He's going to move Henderson back into that number 4 shirt, and now with both locks taking place, Tadhg Beirne will move to flanker at 6. Will Connors is going to move over to 7, pushing Van der Fleer out. I haven't seen anything about Van der Fleer in terms of injuries or stuff. I did have a quick look. I couldn't see anything specifically. Maybe they just removed him for this game. They've obviously got people coming back from injuries, and finishing off in that 8, CJ Stander. So although there's a lot of shifting about here, it's still a strong 1 to 8. It's still very impressive. I think they'll be able to do good work. We know Italy like their physical up-front game, and this is definitely the sort of 6 you want coming in. I think Tadhg Beirne moving to flanker will be a good move again. He's very good in those turnovers, being able to jackal over the ball. I think it's a good move for him. And Will Connors, of course, taking that 7 shirt, I think he's going to be impressive. A lot of tall boys here line out to work especially well for them. I can see a big kicking game from this one, especially seeing how hard Truller has struggled at the back for Italy in their first couple of games. Moving into the back row, Conor Murray still not in the team. I don't know if that's because his injury hasn't quite healed up yet, or if he's still just not making the team because he wasn't playing perfectly, but to me I think the hamstring injury is more likely. Sexton will be coming back in at 10, which was a bit of a surprise to me. Sexton wasn't playing well, but I thought maybe this would be the game for Ross Byrne to get a chance, but Sexton will be taking that back over, and especially retaining his captaincy once again. The centre partnership has absolutely been solid for Ireland so far in this tournament. Henshaw and Ringrose played so well in that game against Wales, and then I think Ringrose had a better game than Henshaw, you'd probably say, in the France game, but Henshaw's looking very good in that number 12 shirt, of course, still with no Bundyaki to take over, so I think they're doing pretty well. Into the far back line then, James Lowe starting at 11 was a big call. I didn't think he was going to, not because he's played badly by any means, he's playing especially well. This is where I thought James Lowe might actually have a game off, just because he's playing so well. I don't think anyone deserves to take the number 11 shirt away from him, so I thought this might be the game they might let him miss out on, but I guess they've got both of those Farah weeks in between. They already has a bit of rest time. Maybe there's no need to rest your number 11, but I thought it'd be a good time to move in Jordan Lama. I thought maybe Jordan Lama could take that left shirt. He could take the fullback or the right wing. They've given him the right wing, moving Keith Earls onto the bench, whether that's not impressing them or just giving Jordan Lama a bit of an opportunity, who knows? It could go either way. And then Keenan, of course, in that fullback position. So it's a strong 1 to 15. They're not messing about. They've probably seen how Italy have been playing Italy have been a lot more aggressive in recent games, especially trying to score tries, not just working it through the forwards, but actually having attacking wingers and centres. So they definitely know they're going to come up against it a little bit. I still maintain this is going to be an incredibly strong Ireland side, especially with the performances we've seen so far against bigger teams like Wales and France. I think they're going to come with a lot of force. I can see this one potentially being a bit of a try fest. There's some big forwards there to help them out at breakdowns when they need to, and then every single person in this backline is built for speed and attack running. So I think the breakaway tries could come thick and fast in this game if Italy don't play a very solid defensive game. We'll have a quick look at the backs before we move on to the Italy team. The front row replacements, of course, Herring, Healy and Porter, they will come on in that second half. They're sort of given the first choice rung at the minute, but they might as well have some guys on, get a bit more experienced in the Six Nations, let them get in there, and they'll be taking the first choice with, of course, Herring, Healy and Porter coming in that second half just to seal out the game. I mean, that's a powerful front three coming on in that second half, if you could ever ask for a powerful three. Coming in the lock position is Ryan Baird, who I'm sure will make a big impact here. He's going to be making his debut sometime in the game. I'm sure they don't want to have Henderson and Ryan playing for that full game, so I'm sure he will come on. Moving to 20, Conan will be coming on at some point. I did think Rhys Ruddock played very well. I thought maybe he would be on the bench for this game. Obviously, they've got all these injuries coming back. Tyke Byrne's going to move to that 6 shirt, but to me, Ruddock was playing well, but Conan's going to get that start at 20 coming on. And then at 21, the man I cannot wait to see, Craig Casey, who is still waiting to make that debut. 3 games gone now. He's been in the team. He can't get that look in. Even with Conor Murray out. Jameson Gibson-Park definitely holding out that 9 shirt for the minute, but I cannot wait to see Craig Casey come on and make a bit of an impact. I'm sure he's desperate to get on the pitch and give some attacking runs. And at 22, Billy Burns. Still Billy Burns. I cannot believe in this Ireland team we don't get to see more of Ross Byrne. I rate Ross Byrne so highly, and I just feel so poor for the guy that he doesn't seem to get a look in. Billy Burns hasn't played terribly. It's more his kicking has let him down in this one. He actually, in terms of attacking as a fly half, he's actually been relatively decent. But his kick from hand, of course, as we will all remember in that Wales game, kicking that ball dead, that'll haunt him for a good couple of games, I imagine. And then also kicking to the posts hasn't been the best for Billy Burns. So it's an interesting choice to have him on the bench again against Italy. Kicks won't make that much of a difference compared to some of the bigger teams. I'm expecting there to be a lot of tries for this Ireland team. But I thought this would be a great game to maybe have a Ross Byrne and Billy Burns combo. But Sexton coming back from that injury, of course, they're going to want to give him that 10 shirt. And finally, Keith Earls on the bench, which is not a bad call, to be fair. He'll come on. I did think maybe we get to see Andrew Conway in there at some point. But of course, they have a lot of people in this backfield that can also do fullback. So maybe Keith Earls will come on for Jordan Lama directly. Maybe Keith Earls will come on for Keenan. And then Jordan Lama will move to fullback in that second half. I don't know. So there's a lot of versatility in this team. But 1 to 23, very strong Ireland team. They're not messing around. They know they need a win. They know they need a bonus point, which is why they've probably gone for such big name players for this Italy team. So Italy have definitely got a lot coming up against them. So let's move on and talk about the home team, Italy. So Italy have had the start we sort of expected them to. Obviously, they were going to come into the Six Nations with a bit of a damaged team. There's a lot of injuries. There's a lot of players missing. The team doesn't have a lot of caps across the board. There's quite a youthful team. They've got a scrum half and a fly half that I think have about 40 years between them. So they're going to struggle through this tournament. I think this is going to be a bit of a harsh year for Italy, but it's been nice to see the difference in style they're doing. They're no longer just the team that is giving the ball through the forwards, trying to pick and go and slowly work their way up the field and attempt to maybe get a pick and go try and celebrating it. There's genuine attacking options now, which is nice to see in Italy, becoming a bit more youthful. Maybe this is a future forward thinking team. This could be the team in a few years that actually might be able to stand a bit of a chance in this Six Nations. But in terms of the team, there's no differences to talk about at all. This is the same 1 to 15 that faced England. I don't think they had a particularly good game against England. Definitely some more interesting stuff going on in terms of the backs. I thought Mantani Ioane had a good try going in there. I think some of the backs played pretty well. It's definitely a lot more attacking. Ignacio Brex was standing out quite good. Carlo Canna trying to do his best as well. So, I mean, I don't really know what I can get into here too much about the team. It's going to be the same team: Lavotti, Bigi, Riccioni, Lazzaroni, Cici, Negri, Johan Meyer, and Lamaro. The 1 to 8 is relatively solid. It seems to be the set standard they like to go for now. Obviously, there's a couple of big players still missing from that front 8, so there's definitely a bit of improvement that could be made there, but they're playing relatively well. They haven't actually lost as many scrums as I was expecting them to, especially with the tactic that they like to put on with having their sort of second choice props going on to start the game and bring on their stronger props later in the game. It's a big call. It hasn't worked particularly brilliant for them, but they are definitely making more aggressive plays. They try to work their way up the pitch a bit more. We think back to the Anthony Watson try. It was actually all Italy at that point, and it was just a poor pass that led to an interception, and no one's really going to catch Anthony Watson from there. Moving on to the back, Stephen Varney's playing very well, actually. We did do, on the podcast, we had a little look through some of the stats for this Italy team. Stephen Varney's currently top of the table for most passes in the tournament, so it shows that the speed at the ruck and the work rate at the ruck is definitely improving. He's getting the ball out quickly. Garbisi's being a very good manager for them in that back position, trying to hold them in, trying to get that attack moving forward a little bit more. Montaniuani's come in, being very impressive. Carlo Canna and Brex are holding that centre. They're not doing terribly defensively wise. I would like to see a little bit more from Brex. From what I've seen of highlight reels, defensively he was pretty sound. I've seen him be much more attacking. Maybe that's the Italian coach trying to push them forward a bit more. Sperandio is playing well, and I would like to definitely see him allowed to have a bit more room to work with. I feel like they get the ball to the wings very, very slowly, and you see the damage they do once they get the ball to the wings in a bit of space. They definitely make the most of it. And then the one chink in the armour for me that stands out is Trula. I don't think he's having the best tournament. I think he's really struggling. I would have maybe looked to have mixed up that fullback a bit, but we're going to go with it anyway. Franco Smith has better idea of Italian rugby than me, so fair play to him. Quick look at the replacements. Lucchesi Traore is going to come in at some point. Zilocci in there. So no Fischetti this time. That might be an injury. Some people might know a little bit more than me. I did try and have a look. I didn't see an awful lot about that. Canone Mbanda is going to come on. Really looking forward to seeing him. I thought he might actually get a start against Ireland with some big people they're going to come up against. Callum Brayley gets a chance ahead of Palazzani. So looking forward to seeing Callum Brayley. Is someone I rate very, very highly in the Italian team. Federico Mori is going to come in instead of Tommaso Allan. I don't know whether that's Tommaso Allan not impressing as much, or Mori going to come in and try and stand out a little bit more. And then finally Bellini coming into the team, who I'm a bit of a surprise Bellini's not in that starting team. Sperandio obviously holding out on that right wing, and Montaniuani holding that left wing. I did think maybe Bellini would move on to the wing and maybe Sperandio would move to fullback, but they're definitely holding out. It's not a bad Italian team, and who they've got to work with based on injuries and people missing out. I think it's not a bad Italian team, and they're not playing particularly badly. It's just the team they're coming up against seem to be able to take over. I think they need to try and dominate a game a bit more. In terms of a prediction, I think we're all going to have to give this one to Ireland. I think Ireland are definitely going to try and run away with this a bit. The number of attacking options Ireland have in this back row, especially with not going to a half team, they're going full strength. I think they're going to put on a big team. So I'm going to call an Ireland win, and I've got a feeling this could actually be a little bit closer to the France marker. I'm going to call Ireland to win by 38 is going to be my prediction for this game. But what do you guys think? Let me know your prediction. Who do you think's going to win? What do you think the score will be? Who do you think's going to win by the most? How many tries do you think's going to get in there? I don't mind what it is. Put it down in the comments, your thoughts on the game. I really enjoy reading through them. I hope you all enjoyed today, guys. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.